My buddy Jacob, man, we've known each other a while now. He's one of the leaders in our space, and I was just super grateful when he said he wanted to come on and meet you guys. He is um, just an incredible guy who cares deeply for his military brothers and sisters, and now works at Wounded Warrior. I'm gonna have Molly Marston. She's one of our transitioning vets. She's gonna MC you. We're giving them the experience of leading the conversation. So I'm gonna hand it off to Molly, but I just wanted to welcome you and thank you for coming on, man. It means a lot to us.
Oh, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
All right, Molly, you there?
Yup, I'm here.
All right, let's pin her. Pin
I
her and
am
take it
pinned. I
away.
see. All right. So, good morning, everyone. I am really excited to welcome Jacob Mousseau. Am I saying it right?
Moose, just Moose.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Moose is fine. Yeah.
Um, you've done a lot of meaningful work with the Wounded Warrior Project and partnerships like the employment boot camps. Um, it's clear that you're passionate about helping veterans. We're honored to have you here today, and I know we're all looking forward to learning from your experiences. Um, you've worked with hundreds of vets. What do you think makes the biggest difference between those who just landed a job and those who actually thrive after the military?
That's a great question. And, obviously every transition is different. Some people have a lot of time to prepare for it, and others don't have that opportunity. So I would say those that have more time and take advantage of really digging deep into who they are, what they are passionate about, what they enjoy, aligns with their values, maybe their family dynamic, and hops into a career that has more alignment with them as an individual opposed to whatever they did in their background for military, that they do a lot better. I think every service member can transition from service and adapt to whatever they're going to go into and be okay. But those that thrive truly find work that aligns with them, not so much their past. And I'd say that that's a really big key factor.
Okay. Um, let's see. I have a few questions I'm going through. When it comes to telling your story, whether on a resume, LinkedIn, or an interview, what's something that you wish more veterans understood?
Yeah, well, art storytelling, learning a little bit about that, maybe watching some TED Talks, doing what you guys are doing right now with those elevator pitches, getting critique. That's super important, finding a way to articulate what you've been through, the value that you bring in a way that, kind of pulls at people's heartstrings, aligns with what they're looking for, really will help you. So, really understanding who you're chatting with, whether it's a hiring manager, the recruiter, someone you're trying to network with, once you understand what's important to that individual, it will help you tailor your message, that way they receive it in a way that makes sense and they gets them interested. If you're just kind of pitching your idea, it's like the example with the handbags. If you're just kind of pitching it to, all 300 people on this call, well, maybe all 300 aren't going to be interested in that. But if you really dial it into, she mentioned being a mom and all these things. Well, now you've got a really niche audience that's going to be a little bit more in tune. So same thing when you're transitioning out. You just got to fully do your research, understand who you're communicating with, and then, practice tailoring that message.
How did you find your passion in your work?
That's a great question too. It was a total accident. I'll kind of go a little brief here, give the brief story, but I transitioned from the Army through a RIF. So reduction in force was not expected. I literally just re-enlisted a few months before this happened. So I'm thinking, I got 4 more years to figure life out. I'm promotable. Life's good. Just coming back from a combat tour where I re-enlisted, so life was on the up and up. And when we got back stateside, the DoD inactivated our brigade here at Fort Campbell. So it really threw a wrench into things. I got 6 months to really transition, and I just went and did what most warriors that I support do. And they're like, "Well, I did this for the last 10 years. We'll just transition into this career path," which for me was human resources. So I went down this path for 7 years, and one of the problems with that is we're really accustomed to just embracing the suck and dealing with life however it is, and not really thinking much of it. So I went down this path for several years, got promoted, got raises, got bonuses, all indicators showing that I was in the right career path, besides the fact that I was super depressed, having conflict in the home, drinking way too much alcohol. So, all these indicators were pointing me into the direction of like, maybe this isn't aligned career path. And somebody that knew me really well on LinkedIn that I had been connected with just reached out, and they shared an opportunity with me for the career coach position here at Wounded Warrior Project. This was 2022, early 2022. And, I took the call, just learned about it. I wasn't really interested at the time because I just had tunnel vision. I'm just thinking HR trajectory. My next job was HR director, so that's all I was really focused on. But I opened up to take the call and learned about the opportunity. It sounded really interesting, and thank goodness I took the call. And I encourage anyone that's out there that maybe someone comes up to you with some type of opportunity and you're not interested because maybe you got those blinders on, but always accept the call, hear about it, hear them out, look at it from a different vantage point, because ever since I've had this opportunity, I've not had a single bad day of work. I haven't missed a single, event with my children. So, preschool, t-ball, all those, like I'm at every practice, at every, dance, event. It's definitely not exciting at 5. It's pretty atrocious, but I'm there. And my kids love it. So it's just one of those things that you might stumble across it, but hopefully if you dig deep and really find out like what's important to you, you can find a career that really aligns with what you're looking for.
Awesome. Is there any current projects that you're working on that you're super passionate about and that we could follow and support and learn from?
Absolutely. So I have a really big one actually. Um, I'm doing some work with the George W. Bush Presidential Institute right now through their Veteran Leadership Program. And I'm working on a career assessment tool that will do exactly this. Really digs down into who you are out of uniform, what you're passionate about, what you enjoy doing. And it's an assessment tool that utilizes AI, but it also brings together like questions from Simon Sinek's Find Your Why, some Myers-Briggs, Gallup Strengths. It kind of incorporates several other assessment tools all into one, to help those that aren't really sure what their next step is in life, find paths that align with them, not necessarily just their background. So, that's something that I'm currently beta testing right now. I've got a research survey that, I could drop the link in the chat or something. You guys can fill out. It's anonymous. It's just to collect data on transitioning, the struggles that any of you that have transitioned already from service may have encountered. Maybe you're in transition now. Those data points just help me when I pitch, because at the end of the year, so November, I get to pitch this project to a lot of senior leaders in the nonprofit space, Fortune 500 CEOs, and a lot of executives like in the military, so senior leaders in the military, to find ways to incorporate this in transition. So, that's something, I'm happy to have anybody help me with, as far as the research goes, or if maybe you are lost. I obviously I don't think I can give it to 300 people right now in the beta testing, but if you are struggling and you do need some help, shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Um, Happy to let you test it out. We can work through it, see what the results look like, give me feedback. But I've tested it on about 40 people so far, and it's all been great feedback so far. So I'm thinking maybe there's something there that could help you.
What's one lesson from your time in the military that you still apply in your work today? That's my other
Yeah.
question.
That's a good one. So something that in the military that I still apply. Yeah. Showing up early, I mean, I don't know if that's the big one, but I still don't know how to show up on time for things. I'm usually 10, 20 minutes early for everything. And it drives anybody, crazy, like my wife, because she just doesn't get it. Parking my vehicle in reverse, I mean, I don't know how to break that habit, but I would say really just, being resilient because life, you're going to get knocked down a lot. You're going to get a lot of no's. Job seekers, you're going to get a lot of rejections. Those that are entrepreneurs on here, I'm with you, right? I'm hosting a EBV with IBMF right now, and I've gone through a lot of the entrepreneurial journeys, had my own business. It's hard, and you're going to have a lot of rejections, and you got to have grit and, really just be able to find ways to overcome when you're really not feeling it. So really understanding your why. I mean, that's really going to be the indicator for you being an entrepreneur or finding a career. You really got to understand what that is and what drives you because you're going to get beat up a lot. Even when life's good, something bad's going to happen and you got to, navigate that. And, luckily military, teaches you how to do that pretty well. But you just want to keep those skills, fine tuned. Don't just think life's good and it's going to continue to be good because it probably won't.
Okay, closing question. What's been the most rewarding part of the work that you do now, and how has it changed you personally?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely helped me be more empathetic to what people are going through. Like I knew I had my own things going on in life and, I overcame and got through it. But now that I work with veterans and military spouses every day on the ground level, so one-on-one, I can truly see what some people go through. And, the homelessness, the substance abuse, the divorces, the just real messy things that happen post service that you don't really just see like circulating on the internet because no one's proud of those things. They're not going to talk about it. But really just seeing what people are going through, like their lowest of their lows and helping them through that. And then seeing them on the other side, like fixing their lives, like that is just life changing. I mean, it's so exciting to me. It really shows that, anything can happen, if you apply yourself. Obviously, not everyone that works with me has a successful outcome. It's just the reality of it. There's people that are driven to change their lives, and there's others that, blame the system, blame society, and they don't want to take accountability of that. But those that do put the effort in to like effectively change what their situation, that's what excites me. That's what drives me, and really keeps me doing what I'm doing. Hopefully, I answered that question right. I don't know.
No, it was good. So thank you so much. Now we're gonna move into our elevator pitches. So whoever was chosen, can you raise your hand so that you can give the elevator pitches?
You mind, Jacob, do you mind critiquing a couple?
I'm happy to stay on for a few.
It's awesome because everyone's really working hard at theirs. We got Alton and James and Ryan Hicks. You guys there?
I'm here.
All right, thanks, James. Why don't you take us out and then you'll hear some advice from Jacob when you're done.
Yes, sir. Hey, first of all, Jacob, nice meeting you in person, or not in person, but at least digitally. here. My name is James Pomar. I'm an experienced operational site manager with a background in project management. I'm currently transitioning from being a Department of Defense military member and then pivoting into the civilian workforce after 20 years of service to our nation. In my previous position, I oversaw operational improvements, maintained equipment for the CEO of my company, my commander, and ensured multi-million-dollar operational center for NORAD ran smoothly with a big team there of just 8 people. So overall, I'm just looking to find out about the Civilian Work Center. It'd be really nice to keep in touch with you and find out how you utilize your military experience and helped out teams improved. Especially, I think I read something up in your profile about how you lowered, I think, turnaround from 16 to 5%. I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're looking, so you said you get a project management background, but the questions are regarding, say, human resources. So just to clarify, what is the direction that you are trying to go post service?
Well, I'm definitely going to go to project management because you could utilize that, and that's those skills. You could utilize those skills in anything. But I'm a big believer that a happy team, or if the morale is high, the work just gets done. Just you knock it out of the park. And I know a lot of times the reason why there's HR people is because you have those mid-level supervision roles or managers that are all about work, 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 and they forget that dynamic of working with people. So it was something I was just curious about, kind of like how you mentioned earlier about the why. And Simon Sinek, I read 2 of his books, and they always mention like he always mentions when you can provide that vision, the why, the golden circle, as he talks about. If you could provide that vision to other workers, that they have a purpose and they knock the work out.
That's true, right? And you can definitely look at this through a project lens, because most of the things you do in HR are project based, whether it's PMP or not. But yeah, I think as far as your pitch goes, I think it's great. You were short, you mentioned your background and kind of aligned it to what I'm doing, which was perfect. And it's something I'll encourage everybody to infuse into your pitch is the word passionate. Use the word, I am passionate about this. And don't just throw it around. Obviously smile, look excited. People are going to see it. But if you can truly articulate how you're passionate about something, I've seen so many people get the position, get the job because they were excited about the opportunity. They weren't the best qualified. They were likable and they were very excited about the work that person was working on or that organization was doing. And if you can show that you're passionate about something and you can say like, hey, I'm so passionate about this and this is why, it's going to lead you to a lot of opportunities. So hopefully that will help. I don't know. I don't think I answered your question fully though.
No, I think you did in a part, just if I'm very driven about accomplishing organizational goals while maintaining a high morale team, I should definitely elaborate that in my elevator pitch. So thank you for that
Well done,
feedback.
James. Good job, buddy. That was awesome and good advice too. All right, where's Alton? You're up next in the hot seat. You there, Alton? Or who do we have? Was it Ryan Hicks?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
You're
ready.
here? All right, take it out, Ryan.
All right. Moose, thank you very much for being here and everything that you're doing for us vets and transitioning vets. I do definitely appreciate it. So, my name's Ryan Hicks, and in today's fast-paced, high-stakes environment, I'm the leader. I'm the ones that leaders call on when things get noisy, literally. I have a 20-year Navy career where I specialize in signal analysis and controlling the electromagnetic spectrum. Basically, I make enemy radars hate their lives. I've become a trusted advisor since I have a passion for translating the technical into clear, actionable decisions. Now I want to pivot into commercial tech, solving problems, leading teams, and keeping systems sharp. So when things get noisy, who are you going to call?
That was good. No, I don't even know if I have some advice for that one. I mean, it
Yeah.
was clear, it was quick, and you explained what you did in a way I understand. Obviously, I don't know all that tech jargon, but breaking it down into that scenario, right, about the enemies, I think that that's helpful, right? Because we make up less than 6% of the total workforce, and that's as military. So, really working on getting that jargon out and speaking in ways that the person understands is really important. One of the biggest misses that I've seen in, when I was in recruiting and doing panel interviews and working with hiring managers isn't that the military wasn't a good fit. They just couldn't explain why. And the hiring manager didn't care to ask. They just, hey, well, I didn't understand what that person wanted. I understood this other candidate. Let's go with them. So, really understanding and taking time to learn the terminology that makes sense to the people that you're talking to is going to be important. And it changes from industry to industry, which is super frustrating. Just being very in tune with that. But I like the pitch. It was short, sweet, and I understood it. As somebody that's not
Awesome.
technically inclined.
Well done,
Awesome.
buddy. Well done.
Appreciate it.
Where's who didn't go? Alton, are you here? He might have snuck out the back door when he knew he had to talk to Moose. Thank you, Ryan. That was great. What advice would you have for these guys? I mean, you've worked with thousands of people over the years in the exact shoes, the exact spot in their lives where they are. What are some of the commonalities? What are people doing? What are the general themes that they're doing well, whether it be networking, whether it be finding the career path, whether it be interviewing? What do you see in common with people who are getting the jobs they want and having that success?
I'd say the ones that are getting the jobs that they want and having success, they just really take time identifying what success looks like. They're very, very, very clear goals. And I usually break it down to like a vacation, conversation, right? Like think about your life as you and your wife or your significant other or friend or even just yourself. You're going on vacation. If you don't know that exact destination, what you're wanting to do, like at that destination, you're never going to get there, right? So you got to plan like, hey, I want to go to Panama City Beach. This is where I want to stay, oceanfront. I want to do these activities when I'm there. And now you can plan a whole lot smoother. So you need to do that with your career or your entrepreneurial endeavors, right? You got to have very clear idea of what you want to do. And it's hard, right? Oftentimes you're going to be building that train as it's moving, right? So you got to, hope that you're doing the right things and, your clarity is going to get better the closer you are to the objective. But you just got to really figure out like what that is, going to be or what's important to you. Because the ones that are struggling, the ones that I deal with the most that just have no idea, it takes a while to narrow that down. And then once you have it, you can build a plan. You can start tailoring your resume, preparing for interviews, networking. A lot of people just kind of jump to networking, but they don't know what they want. So networking doesn't work because you're hitting up all these people for advice, but you're not asking them questions that are clear. So they can't give you good advice. Like I can't, like you couldn't come work with me as a client um, without any idea of where you want to go. Like for me, yeah, because I have tools that can help you. But for an example, like you couldn't just reach out like, hey, I want to transition to the military. I don't know what to do. Like that's really hard for me to help you. So the more clarity you have, the easier things will get. But it's
Right on, man.
probably the hardest thing that you're going to
Yeah.
go through is figuring out what that is.
And then the civilian, most of the hiring managers are going to be civilians, right? They're not going to take the time to figure it out for you. If you're vague and you don't have that focus dialed in, it's like you're going to get passed over, right? Talk a little bit about from the hiring authorities point of view, like how fast are they making decisions when they're looking at a resume or checking you out on LinkedIn or your first impression or the elevator pitch. Like, how easy is it to nail this stuff, and why do most people screw it up?
Yeah, well, they're making decisions fast, right? Most of the job opportunities are open because there's a need. And that need's probably been open for a while because it takes a while to get job recs approved through HR and through all the processes, whatever corporate entity you're going to. Usually they're weeks behind, getting those jobs live. So, they want to pick someone to fill that seat quick. So they're looking at resumes, I'd say, and this is different for everyone, but I'd say 10, 15 seconds, just skimming the top just to see, hey, does this person have everything that I'm looking for? And if they do, then they'll look at it a little bit further detail. LinkedIn, I mean, probably your picture and your headline. If you don't hook them at the very front top, they're not going to keep scrolling to, dig in further. That's just not what they're looking for. So you got to find a way to quickly engage with them. Hopefully it's something that, you've done your research, you've looked at their profiles, and you find ways to engage with them. Maybe it's somebody that they're a soccer mom and your kid's in soccer, or whatever it might be. I mean, you could probably even make something up. Not telling you to lie, but you do need to be likable and relatable to get opportunities. People hire people that they like. They talk to people that they have something in common with. And if you can find out what those things are ahead of time, you're going to connect a lot better. And then you're going to have more time to articulate the value that you bring. So, in that elevator pitch, finding a way to infuse something that that they're going to like. If you research their page and it's a dad of a Marine, or you see something in a photo and you can be like, hey, I can talk about that. That's what you really need to do. It sounds weird, maybe to most of you, because you're preparing resumes and interview and like elevator pitches specific to jobs, but you really need to connect with the people in order to get the opportunities.
Right. You got to start out somewhere, and it's so easy to do if you just put the. I want to show you guys his LinkedIn. You mind if I share your LinkedIn page?
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's okay.
look how great that is. Like, look at the smiling headshot, professional clothes. I love the flag behind, right, to convey the military. And then look at his banner. You know instantly what the guy does. Instantly, right? With the cool like half and half attire. Love it. Sir, like headline. Simple. It's not hard to do this stuff. It just requires a little bit of thought. But if you do it, it makes such a huge difference, you know? Tell everyone, Moose, a little bit about Wounded Warriors. For those of you, I mean, for those of us who are not as familiar with the organization, then specifically what you're doing with them and how people here could get involved if they are interested.
Yeah, well, I'll give a quick rundown. Winter Warrior Project, we've got 18 major programs that, help benefit the warrior or their families' lives. So it's not just warriors that have the most significant injuries, right? You don't have to be missing a limb or having, full body of burns. I mean, yes, that qualifies you, but I mean, you could literally have twisted your ankle in service, and if it's documented, you can qualify for our services. So, post 9/11 veteran with some type of injury or illness that occurred on duty. So, this is 0% VA rating all the way to 100, right? And as Cedric said, they give you free concert tickets. Yes, we do. I think VetDix probably does a better job with that, but we have several programs in the mental health space. So this could be just having somebody to talk to, talk through stuff, get goals established, help you with whatever might be going through in your life, all the way up to intensive care, where we've got 2 to 3 weeks of, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma recovery. And all that's, fully covered, no cost. We've got financial advisors, we've got career coaches, health and wellness, for like for health and nutrition or physical fitness. The one that you probably see the most on any platform, Soldier Ride. So those are the ones out cycling the nation. But if you like cycling, that's something for you. The tickets one, that's more so for our alumni or outreach to get warriors out of their homes, involved in the community, meet other vets and military spouses. But they do like forging knives, fishing, hunting, date nights, all sorts of different trips you can think of regionally. We do have programs for caretakers. So all of our programs, the warrior can take advantage of, the military spouse can, adult dependent children. If you got some of those still in the house, you're trying to get like, jobs, hook me up. I'll get them out of your house. But yeah, family caretakers can take care of all or can participate in all of our programs as well. And it doesn't have to be an official family caretaker, could be a parent, could be a good friend who's close to you. We don't have strict guidelines on what classifies as a family support member. One of the things that differentiates us from other nonprofits in the space is we don't take money from the government. So we're fully funded from donors and fundraising. So we don't have those strict guidelines where you got to show me their birth certificate and your marriage certificate. Like if that person's important to you and they're helping you with your life, then we can get them signed up and they can partake.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Can you talk a little bit more, Moose, about you touched on it, how you don't miss a kid's event, you get to do this job from home. Like, talk about how important that is for the transitioning vets to just find something that aligns with exactly what they want. It's unique to each person. And people, my experience is it's the number one reason that screw up a vet's career path is they just don't come out of the gate with that, doing that soul searching. And just talk a little bit about how what you've experienced, people who do that research ahead of time and then pick their career path versus what most job seekers in America do is go on to Indeed and see who's hiring.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, we're programmed to do it the other way, right? You spend your whole career getting promoted, getting that next rank, that next responsibility, the bigger paycheck, and you do that for decades. I mean, that's what you think is normal. I mean, that's what I thought was normal till I realized life is so much better when you're in a path that aligns with you. And I got to experience this firsthand. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been doing this job for over 3 years. I've not had a single bad day of work. And I've dealt with some knuckleheads, but like I haven't had a bad day of work, haven't missed anything important to my family. And I'm just happier. Everybody that knows me personally knows that I'm significantly happier. I've completely quit drinking alcohol. I use zero substances, other than some like protein shakes or something. I don't know if that counts, but so like I just feel much better, both physically, spiritually, mentally. I mean, life's just better. The warriors that I help that do this as well, yeah, I didn't mention this, but not everybody can do this, immediately. A lot of people are bound by their lifestyles, right? So if you need that brand new car, maybe you got a giant mortgage, maybe you've got a divorce and you got child support that is just outrageous. I mean, there's a lot of things that have led you to where you are in life. So finding that job that maybe only pays you 40 grand, but you're happy might not be possible at the moment. But identifying what it is and trying to find a way towards that is important. So I would say, everybody can't just do this immediately, tomorrow, right? I get it. There's, important things that happen in life. Like living is expensive. But, if you can figure out what it is, do that deep soul searching, or test out the assessment if you really don't understand. But I think that you could truly sit down and think about things that you're good at, that you enjoy doing, that you're passionate about, hobbies, and find ways to turn that into a career or business. I love the entrepreneurial spirit, so I think just spending time to figure it out is important. Whether you're going to do it tomorrow or not, that's a different story. But identifying it's important to take that time to think about what it is.
Yeah, it's not easy to figure it out. It doesn't come naturally to some people right out of the gate. We notice about 40–50% of the transitioning vets are not 100% sure of what is that path for them. What are some other ideas or strategies they can do to maybe figure that out? You know, you mentioned like the hobbies, the interests. Talk a little about maybe like the networking side too, because you're a master at networking and you have a big group of people around you who are available to you and vice versa. And talk how important that is.
Yeah, so getting mentors incredibly helpful, and then the networking piece, just chatting with people. And you got to write this down, right? You can't just have hundreds of conversations and never take notes, right? You need to take notes. So all these calls that you have, obviously come prepared with questions, but what you should do, like if you're not sure the direction, narrow down the things you don't want to do. Like, hey, these are things I absolutely want nothing to do with. This is the type of lifestyle I don't want to do. Like, I don't want to be in the office, 60 hours a week, or I don't. And then as you start conversating with people in these different professions, learning about what their day-to-day is like, what's their week to week, what do they like about their job? What do they dislike about their job? And once you start learning what other professionals are doing, it'll help you narrow that down. You'll have more things on your dislike, and then maybe you'll start building up, the like category. The narrowing down the exact path, that's hard. And it takes time, and you have to be intentional about it. But you can definitely do that through networking, just having conversations with people, being curious about what they do. Um, not going in there for anything other than just curiosity, not going in for, I just see that you work here and I want a referral. Like, don't do that. Just learn about people. Like, what do they like? What do they dislike? What's their day-to-day look like? Because reading job descriptions is never going to tell you the full story of what that role does. You got to hear it from people. And then you can do that on, obviously different platforms like Mill Mentor or ACP, American Corporate Partners, and, get mentors that will, help you. But you could also just reach out to people on network that you just come across like, wow, that person seems interesting. Maybe they'll want to chat, you know. And I'll tell you, you're gonna get a lot of no's there too, and a lot of silence. Like, I think a 40% response rate's really good, so don't get too beat up on the people that don't respond and just focus on the ones that do.
It just takes one person to change the trajectory of your life. I mean, like Veronica, who was on earlier, who you overheard her pitch about the handbags and stuff. Like, Veronica, you should be every day talking to somebody else in the fashion industry every day. Because I don't know Jake, he doesn't know what fashion bags or what that industry is like. I don't, we can guess, but hear it from somebody who works it and you do 10 of those conversations, and all of a sudden you will have so much clarity whether you want to do it, whether you don't want to do it. But sometimes, like you said sometimes it's not easy. We have constraints like, oh, I would love to do this, but that I need to make 3x what that's going to pay. But maybe there are other ways they can scratch that itch, whether it's volunteering or whether it's starting a little side biz while you're doing something that's going to pay the bills.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't even mention that, but you're right. Most people, well, I don't know about most. I don't have exact numbers,
Yeah.
but I'd say a lot of people aren't going to find a career that's just perfect for them. They love every aspect of it. It ticks every box, right? So yeah, hobbies, volunteering, side gigs, those are things that will probably provide some of that. Like,
Yeah.
I got a special operator I'm working with. He does a lot of coaching, like softball coaching and baseball coaching for kids and youth. And he really enjoys that. It fills his cup, and he has a job that is okay, that he's also good at, but that's not what he loves. So, you might have to do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you just figure it out. You do the best you can, you figure it out, but make smart decisions, do your research. Don't go into this blindly because I am such a firm believer that you guys can do anything you set your minds to. Corporate America desperately needs all the skills and grit and toughness that you guys bring, and you don't have to settle. But the first thing is figuring it out. So you go down that right path. And then you have, like you said, that passion. You can give that elevator pitch a completely different pitch when you're super excited about it,
Oh yeah.
and that's the place you want to go. I thank you so much, Moose. This was awesome, man. Appreciate you so much for what you're doing. Any final advice you want to give for this crew, or where can they, is it okay if they connect with you on LinkedIn and reach out?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'd say maybe two things for advice. If you do feel stuck or you're unhappy where you are, change it. I mean, I feel like there's so many people that just live by the embrace the suck quote, and they just like, hey, I'm just gonna grind it out for 40 years. And why? Like, don't do that. Like that, I know a lot of unhappy people
Yes.
that just chose to do that, and I don't get it. So if you do need help, happy for you to reach out to me on LinkedIn. My team, I've got over 24 career coaches in Wounded Warrior Project that are all across the nation, all do exactly what I do, have networks. So if there's someone that you do need to talk to or you need some support, it's a free service, so just sign up or reach out and I'll help you get handed off to somebody that can help you if I can't. But I mean, I'm always happy to take a call or reach out or make an introduction if somebody needs it.
Oh, you're the best, buddy. Thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
All right, bye, y'all.
All right, we are done for the day. That was good. Thank you.